If you're a fan of offensive line play, this podcast may be for you. David Harlow. If you're a fan of offensive line play, this podcast may be for you. David Harlow is the offensive line coach at Jefferson Forest, played offensive line at Liberty. One of the best teachers of the game, from what I am told. David Harlow talks about the media's role, talks about offensive linemen in general, and what is euphoria for an offensive lineman. We'll hear all that and more with David Harlow here on the Sports Buffet podcast. Talking to David Harlow, he promised me food the next time we talked, and I see there's a sheets bag over there. God knows what's in that, and there's some sunflower seeds, so I'm not getting food. I brought my own, so I'm just kidding. I am a diligent studier, and I listened to our last interview, and you mentioned doing things the right way. What's the right way?
The right way to me, in my eyes, is being about the kids, less about yourself and more about the team, the program, the kids, the community, everything that the team and the school encompass, and making it less about yourself, more about the kids.
Who taught you the right way besides Chris Watts? Because he got mentioned way too much in our last interview.
Yeah, no doubt. Just some of the coaches in the area, I've kind of, watched and paid close attention to from a distance. And you see the ones that stick it out, that have been around for a long time, that have had success in multiple places. And so, looking around right now, it's Cruz and Bradley, the two longest tenured coaches in the district. And so looking at those guys and the way that they do things, they've had success. They've been around for a while. So Cruz has been around for 5 or 6 years. Bradley's been around, I don't know, probably double that.
More than 5 or 6, yeah.
Yeah, and so, to maintain success, long-term success, you look at those guys and see how they run things from a program standpoint, from a relationship standpoint, and you just try to model yourself after those things. You're
a father and you're a husband. Has husband made you a better coach, or has coaching made you a better husband / father?
Oh, man, I don't know. You ask my wife, and I'm no telling which answer you'll get. But
or does it not translate at all?
No, there's some carryover. You talk about being a leader of a household, a leader of a family, and being a leader of a team and a program. I think that has a correlation. But no, definitely here recently, my daughter's 3 years old. So these last 3.5 years, you've kind of taken on a new role, a new form of leadership, I guess, if that makes sense. And so that's more recent to me, 3 years ago compared to, 11, 12, 13 years ago, being married now. But,
yeah, and diaper changing is different.
Yeah,
you're not changing your offensive lineman's diapers.
No, but there is a lot of carryover, between a 3-year-old and some of these kids. It's a age gap, but, when you talk about looking after somebody and taking care of them and wanting to do things the right way and putting them first, putting them above yourself, there's a lot of crossover there too.
I tried to make you sound young during the last interview, and you pointed out you've been doing it for 21 years, which I guess is a long time. Yeah. What was the role of media when you were starting? Do you remember?
Honestly, Friday Football Extra.
Right.
I know that we'd go after a big game and we'd kick back and we'd, watch the highlights on Friday night.
And you guys still had Chappie out at Liberty.
Yeah.
So there's not a lot of, and Bedford Bulletin, I guess. So you have a little bit of coverage, but nowadays people can read stuff bad about them on social media.
Oh yeah.
So how much of it is telling your guys, hey, this is our house. I don't care what anybody says on the outside. That's just noise.
Yeah. And that's something that we've preached since I've gotten into coaching. It's about the guys that are there, the guys that are working, day in and day out. And we have a saying here, it's about us. And so anything outside of the walls, outside of the field, we kind of put that on the back burners and focus on the guys that are there, focusing on the guys that control the things that we need to control. And anything else outside of that, don't need to put a whole lot of emphasis on.
Has it been difficult when there have been things that have blown up? I know you guys had an incident, I want to say it was 2 years ago in the playoffs, that got a little out of hand, it seemed like, with the media, with social media. More, I don't care about the media because everybody's got Facebook, Snapchat, Twitter, stuff like that, to where stuff like that gets, I think, more carried away than Channel 13 or Channel 7.
Yeah, what that's something you try to head off before it happens. Mm-hmm. Try to talk to the kids about those kind of things. And then, anything that happens, whether it's with our team, with our program, with our school, or neighboring schools. You try to, take things that happen and make an example of those before it gets to us. And so the kids understand what the ramifications are. They understand what's important, what's not important, and try to focus our energy and effort on the things that are important.
I always say people don't talk to the offensive linemen or the offensive line coaches enough.
Yeah, well,
that's my thing.
Yeah,
I mean, come on, people.
Hey, you telling me? No, I think here at JF, I think we get a lot of, with Coach Cruz and, the guys that we have over here, I think we get a lot of love.
Right.
And, I'm not going to shy away. Again, talk about doing it the right way. Our guys work their butts off. My guys work their butts off. And anytime we get a chance to, put them in the paper or put their names out there, we're going to take advantage of it.
When you started playing at Liberty, as I would call it, young David Harlow, you had Chris Watts as like your mentor. Did you have a player that you looked up to, or players that you looked up to, or were you kind of like thrown in and self-taught from day one?
No, and I don't know that it was one or two players in particular, but it was that, that senior class that came before us. We had a lot of guys. Again, when you were growing up, they were, bigger, stronger, faster, and all that. And you kind of looked up to the guys that were ahead of you, looked up to the guys that were at your position, and just kind of modeled your game after, the things they did well, and maybe some of the things they didn't do well, you learned from there. But we had a great group ahead of us that we kind of looked up to and modeled our game after.
Talk to me a little bit about film. How important is film?
For me, it's huge. It's everything. That's something that we put a heavy emphasis on from day one. Something that we are able to do now that we weren't able to do, or that we didn't take advantage of in years past, is filming everything from practice to 7-on-7s to games to, press box to end zone.
7-on-7 is helpful for you guys because line is correct. Walk me through 7-on-7. It's more of more of the skilled people, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And so we'll have our lineman camps. We'll go out to, William Byrd will have one. I think Heritage has one here in a couple of weeks that we'll go out to for big man camp, and, getting out there with some of the kids from surrounding schools and competing against those guys. It gives our guys a chance to get out there, see what everybody else has and is working with, and get a chance to compete and get a chance to get out of the weight room for a little bit and kind of, get some competition going. But, the 7-on-7 piece I think is good in some respects. I think we've kind of pulled back away from that the last couple of years just because we have so many spring sports athletes here at JF. It's hard to get them all back together for one day at one time.
Coach Cruz said the same thing, so I feel like
we talk about this all the time. Me and him, sitting in here in the weight room all day, every day, we have a lot of the same conversations. But
and you'll get to answer trivia questions done by Bob Alvis, except nobody can.
We try to answer them as best we can.
Talk to me a little bit more about film. How many times are you watching one play? Average.
Well, I mean, for me, one play, you're talking at least 5 or 6 guys that I got to go back through and watch for each play. I'm talking about center, 2 guards, tackles, and for us tight ends.
And you're not zooming. You're not zoomed into the guy, so you're kind of watching what a over the top press box view, or
most of the time I'm watching more of the end zone view.
Okay.
Looking at stance, looking at footwork, looking at placement, making sure our guys are getting to the right places that are everything from stance to splits to finish to everything in between.
Ready for a dumb question?
What's up?
Okay. Is it more important pre-play, how they're lined up, or is it more important post-play once the play gets going?
Post-play.
Okay.
We'll take care of all the pre-play stuff in practice. We'll make sure that we know, if they give us this is how we're going to handle it.
But if a guy thinks he's lining up right, he's going to line up maybe quote unquote wrong 7 or 8 straight plays for you guys if he thinks he's doing it right. Does that make sense?
For us,
right. So like if you say post play, but the guy's lined up quote unquote wrong, but it's not, desperately wrong. If he's lined up wrong on one film and you can see him on one play, well, if he thinks he's lined up right, he might be lined up wrong the next 6 or 7 plays. But still, post play is more important than any lineups.
Yeah, and I mean, for my guys, it's not a whole lot of formations. We're lined up in the same place pretty much every time. Centers and guards and tackles were all lined up together in the same place.
When you guys were at Liberty, y'all had the funky offense in your words. Well, no, not in your words, in my words. Kind of the option. Was it more 3-point stance for your linemen or more of, pass protect, what I call spread, Spread linemen, if that makes sense.
No, we were all 3-point stance. We didn't know any better. We didn't know anything else.
Are you guys still in 3-point stance now?
Yes, sir.
How different is 3-point stance versus what? When I say spread lineman, the lineman's already standing up and kind of like ready to block. I don't want to say hands on the knees, but you're in a more standing up. Would that be accurate?
Yeah.
Okay. So what's the difference in your eyes?
And again, I grew up, I guess a lot of us grew up in a time where we were all 3-point stance, but I think our style of game, I think it benefits us to be in a 3-point stance, to fire off low, work at low to high kind of deal coming out of our stance. I think it gives us leverage. It gives us power. I think everything that we need to do, trying to run the things that we do, I think it benefits us more so from a 3-point stance. And a lot of guys nowadays with the spread offense and different things they're trying to do and getting guys to the perimeter and second level and pass protection, I guess, are kind of going after the 2-point stance deal, at least for their tackles and some of them for their interior guys too. But I think it's just a style of play. For me, it's a mentality thing too. Just knowing that we're going to out physical, out leverage on a play-to-play, on a down-to-down basis. And that's kind of the mentality that we instill in our guys. Talk to me a little bit about the lineman camp at William Byrd. What do you see it helping your guys specifically? Is it one thing or is it a lot of things? Well, and so that's something that I wanted to get going a long time ago. And Brad Lutz, Coach Lutz, has done a great job of setting that up the last 3 or 4 years, getting kids from all over the state to show up. And coaches. And coaches, yeah. And it's a great time, great opportunities for a good cause. And so if I can plug that, if I can shout that out and get some more attention drawn to that for next year, then by all means, let's get guys out there. But no, it's a good time. It's a one-day kind of deal, and so I don't think you're gonna get better that one day. But I think there's things that you can take away from that and that you can work on in your own time at your own place. But the bigger thing to me, as far as camps go, is going out there and our kids get to see it and hear it and experience it from somebody else. And we'll go to college camps or college practices and the same thing. I can tell if one of my kids the same thing, every day during the season, but as soon as he hears it for the first time from a college coach or from somebody else, then it clicks. It's like, hey, coach knows what he's talking about. Coach is telling me the same thing that these other guys are telling him. And so, again, it's a chance for our guys to compete, but also to hear it from somebody else. There was an old commercial back in the late 90s with Tom Glavine and Greg Maddux about chicks dig the long ball, and it was talking about home runs. I'm going to use a 4-letter word right here. Don't worry, it's a clean one. Being an offensive lineman might not be sexy to the rest of the world. How can you make it attractive to your guys when they come to play offensive line? It's an easy sell for me. Our guys are here busting their butt every day. We take pride in outworking everybody else. We take pride in doing the dirty work, I guess, if you could say. But no, our guys, especially here, have taken to that. They have the right mentality, the right drive, and we take pride in doing those things. We've had guys that have transitioned over that used to be tight ends or call themselves running backs or whatever, and we've converted those guys. Those guys have gone on to have great success. Slade Cassie's the most recent one I can think of that, he was a tight end and a defensive end 2 years ago, and then he made the transition inside for us on defense and then made the transition down to offensive tackle for us, and now he's going to West Point, going to Army to play offense, play tight end. So. Is it a major mentality change you have to get when you get somebody from a different position and they come to the offensive line, or are they pretty much good to go upstairs? It's a different mentality. You've got to be willing. You've got to want it. But again, I think at this point in our program, we're more about winning than we are, saying I'm this position or I'm that position. I think whatever is going to get us going, whatever is going to be the best for our team and our program, I think our kids are pretty bought into that at this point. Outside of a kid committing to the next level, what is euphoria for an offensive lineman? What is the moment to where it's just like, oh, they won the lottery? Yeah, going out there and putting into practice what we talk about all week and just physically dominating the other team, the other guys across the line of scrimmage from us. You talk about the social media stuff and the bulletin board material and things like that. And, the guys, they hear that stuff and the guys want to get after it a little bit and they want to prove themselves. I know last year, there was big hype in the media and not you necessarily.
Thanks. Appreciate it.
But giving our guys a hard time about graduating everybody the year before, and they wanted to come out there and establish themselves, prove themselves, and show that we were able to compete, and we were going to give her everything we had, and we were going to put our best foot forward. And
how hard was it to replace? You brought it up, not me. How hard was it to replace essentially a whole offensive line?
Yeah, I mean, it took a lot of work, but I think going into it the year before, we knew that we were going to graduate all those guys. And so we had a plan in place of kind of working with those guys that were on the JV level and making sure that they were brought along the right way. And they were going to be prepared for the time when the time came for them to transition over to the varsity level. And we got some guys like Slade that helped, that bumped down from tight end to tackle, and guys like Logan Hamilton, who wasn't necessarily in the mix, but converted over and did a great job. But, it's different from the outside in or looking in. You say we're losing all these guys, but on the inside, I know the guys that we're replacing them with. And so I felt really good, really confident about the guys that we had.
There's a whiteboard over there. Is that whiteboard important to kids in terms of seeing plays drawn up, or do they just need to be on the field?
Yeah, I mean, it's important for them to see it. And so Coach Cruz will put some installs up on Huddle, and the kids can look at it just to kind of have a heads up of what they're going to see, on a given day or a given week. And so it's something that they can take back home as a kind of a refresh.
Did you like Chalk Talk when you were a player?
I didn't know anything about it, to be honest.
But I mean, do you find it more? Because Chalk Talk to me is drawing plays up on the board. Is Chalk Talk more important now, or do kids just want to get out there and let show them rather than draw it up?
I think these guys are, again, a special group. We've got a high academic school and a high academic team. They want to know not only what their job is, but what the guys around them are. And so, I think that is a part of it. I think that's a piece of it. Usually for my guys, what we'll do is we'll go in the day of, the week of, and we'll get on the board, we'll get on film, we'll kind of show them what we're looking for. That way when we get out of the field, there's still some teaching moments, but it's more teaching how to do it as opposed to teaching what to